Welcome everyone to another episode of It's Soluminating. Lately we've been going through a series with our professional services organization, and today we'll work on another one here around delivering value to the customer. So today I'm joined by Colby Hennigan. He's the Director of Technical Services. So welcome, Colby.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
So Director of Technical Services, I'm sure that's a big role and a major initiative that we have in helping customers get to value. So why don't you give us a little background around what you and your organization does and delivers value?
Absolutely. Well, my team sits in the professional services department, and our organization is software development focused. We are the technical resources that do the software development implementation parts of the project. So the roles that I manage are the senior software engineers, the integration engineers who are focused on the integrations and the touch points between Solumina and other systems, for example, and then the developers. And so these are the technical roles and technical resources on implementation projects. And that's what my team is made up of, and I manage those folks.
Great. So there's a lot of probably process that's put in place and methodologies that you all take in working with the customer, rather closely with the customer, and getting them up to speed on Solumina and trying to get some value out of Solumina as fast as possible. So, and then with that, I'm sure you guys are doing acceptance testing as the use cases come over to the customer. And what are those all about? Why are they important? What's acceptance testing?
Yeah. So from a general software delivery perspective, the purpose of acceptance testing is to ensure that the software meets the intended requirements and it's ready for deployment. It's usually the final phase of testing before the solution is delivered to the customer or made available to the end users. It's important because it confirms with the customer that the expected functionality and requirements have been met, and it provides an end user assessment and confirmation of quality and reliability, and supports decision making and confidence for the go live at the end of the project. But ensuring acceptance testing success starts earlier than the acceptance testing phase. For iBase-t and Solumina specifically, we achieve this by starting to organize acceptance testing in the project prep phase. It starts with identifying the correct user stories for the given project and requirements, and ensuring clear and complete acceptance criteria for those user stories identified. During our solution validation and configuration project phases, test cases are finalized to ensure that when the project does enter the acceptance testing phase, end-to-end and UAT test cases have been created and the required details have been added for customers to execute.
Okay, so for the customer who's watching, and with the acceptance testing, what is iBase-t? How does they help the customer? What's in it for them?
Yep. Well, the customer is responsible for creating the user acceptance or UAT test cases, but they do that with the support of the iBase-t provided user stories with acceptance criteria defined. So the end-to-end test cases that iBase-t will have been documented in our manual test case management system. Those testing results and a UAT, a customer UAT script template are all provided so that the customer is ready to do that responsibility. These are all inputs to help the customer with the UAT process. Two key activities of the acceptance testing project phase are the customer post-go live support plan and the production cutover plan. Both of those get established in contact with the customer, through discussion with them, obviously. And then these two items are critical to a smooth deployment to production.
So that cutover and that deployment usually happens over a weekend, or how does that typically happen?
Well, it's important to note that during a full implementation project, there are multiple deployment activities, from the initial installation or upgrade of Solumina to when coding's done, promotions of that code to the dev and testing environments, et cetera. But for the go live to production over the weekend typically does make sense for a lot of customers and sites. What typically drives when that go live is scheduled is minimizing disruption to production. Go lives often happen during off-peak hours, such as night shifts or weekends, when production is at its slowest. This timing reduces the impact on manufacturing output. When scheduling the go live, you'll also look at scheduled maintenance windows, production cycles, any other planned downtime for when production would be halted anyway. And when you factor all that in, more often than not, over the weekend is the best time for scheduling those go lives to production.
And then post that, we'll move into Hypercare, right? From my understanding, we move into Hypercare. So maybe tell us a little bit about that. What happens in Hypercare?
Yep. Well, Hypercare is the final phase of the Solumina implementation methodology, or SIM for short, and there are 3 key activities in that phase. First, there's a period of production support by the implementation project team, and that's to support the customer immediately after go live. So, you know, common vernacular, we're doing a lot of hand holding to make sure that everything is smooth and successful. Second, the transition to iBase-t customer care, so that the customer is onboarded with the iBase-t support team. And so that's seamless for the customer. And then third, the closure of the implementation project is a Hypercare activity. So the customer is using Solumina in their production environment. They're now consulting with the customer care team with questions, but the implementation project team is also supporting the customer in this really important transition period for them.
Great, great. So just one last question. So you must, obviously you do post-survey and feedback from customers as they go through this process. I mean, what are you hearing out there? Are they positive? Are they getting the value out of this?
They are positive that they are getting the value out of this. They obviously very much appreciate the support when we are there with them to help make sure that these projects are successful. And the closer we work with them and the more activities that we do together as a team, that invariably leads to more successful projects and a happy customer.
Great, great. Well, Colby, thanks for joining us today. It was a very interesting topic, and we're going to continue on this services series as we move forward. So please join us for more information and more deeper dives. Thanks, Colby.
Thank you. Appreciate it.